Well, here we are, not the Yankee Farm Wife. I promise I will make you laugh next time, but today, I'm just Kathleen, or Meemaw. Horrified by what I saw in PA. Am I shocked there was an attempt on Donald Trump's life? Not at all. I'm shocked that it hasn't happened multiple times. And by that I mean attempts on all candidates on both sides of the aisle. Do I firmly believe that Trump is responsible for the hatred that is so openly demonstrated in our country now? Hell yes. Not so much for the hatred, because that was fomenting long ago, but he is to blame for fanning those flames, for giving people permission to openly hate, particularly certain groups of people. South Americans, all immigrants, liberals, Democrats, and how he has changed the way people look at women. He has repeatedly given his followers permission to be violent, culminating in his inciting the Capitol attack on January 6th that so famously and sadly impacted my 60th birthday celebration and cost the lives of 5 people and the peace of mind of a nation. Tragically, 4 officers who responded to the attack died of suicide within the following months. We have reached a breaking point. More violence does not end violence, but I see it coming. Trump left the stage pumping his fist and shouting, "Fight, fight, fight." The last time he did that? Well, January 6th. And the response? People posting funny memes, prefacing them with, "Is it too soon?" It will never be time to poke fun at an armed attack at a crowd of people, no matter how we feel about one of the victims. There's a deep festering wound in our country that has robbed us of sympathy, empathy, compassion. This has to stop. Do I want to be some kind of leader in this battle for the soul of our precious country? Hell no. I want to be Meemaw. I want to play with my grandchildren and cook dinners for my family and walk all those horses up and down the hill, turn them out in their paddock, stop by and hug my grandbabies before they start their day, check in with my daughter, have coffee with my husband before we each get to work. Once or twice a week, I put on my Yankee Farm Wife hat and try to find humor in this irrational political nightmare, because it's the only way I know how to cope with it. And I hope it helps you cope as well. We are all trying to somehow live normal lives in the midst of senseless, uncontrolled hatred. All begun by a man who is desperate for attention, power, and money, with no concern for the price the rest of us are paying. All of us, not just Democrats or Republicans, but all of us. Does anyone ever have a conversation with a stranger anymore without wondering what camp the other person occupies? And if they are safe in their own position, if found out? I know I don't, but I still try. I still chat with strangers in line at Walmart, with the cashiers at Tractor Supply, with strangers walking their dogs, because I remember what it was like before Trump divided the country. And I desperately miss it. The sun didn't used to rise and set around the Second Amendment, and if someone didn't hold the same personal beliefs about abortion, we could still be friends. These are the issues they use to exploit us, and we buy into it. Here's the saddest part. Every one of us loses, except for the ultra-wealthy, who like to keep the rest of us divided and fighting with each other, while they suck up more and more wealth and laugh at how foolish we are. They laugh at us. One of them, a former president, is so desperate to avoid prison that he has to find a way back into office by hook or by crook, even if it destroys American democracy. Even if it takes people dying to get him there, his selfishness knows no bounds. But that doesn't mean it's okay to assassinate him. That won't end the drama. That won't stop people from hating. At best, it might push all of that into the background again, where it used to live. But violence can't be an option. Never. I grew up in the 60s and 70s. I remember the Troubles in Ireland. Every day the news was filled with more bombs, more death, mothers sobbing in the streets over the dead bodies of their children, their families. For what? The more violence done, the more violence generated. I remember reading about how the women of Ireland, the Catholics and the Protestants, had finally had enough of the carnage and hatred and death. These mortal enemies had buried their husbands, fathers, children, babies caught in explosions. So much blood, so much pain. The women of both camps literally joined hands, organized, fought for peace, often put their own lives on the line, nursed the injured on both sides, comforted the families who lost loved ones on both sides, shouted and demonstrated, and worked their way into political offices to gain influence. And united in their love for their children and families, desperate for their safety, they turned the tide. Now I gotta say, I am afraid it's more here now than Republicans and Democrats, liberals and conservatives. Those who would hold all the power and money have done a stellar job of setting us at each other's throats. They've written a 900-page manifesto called Project 2025 to keep it going, to control women, LGBTQ plus people of color, immigrants, any religion that isn't Christian, and even some Christian religions that are the wrong ones. Can we recognize we are not each other's enemies, see who our common enemy is, and unite peacefully against those who tear our nation apart? I don't know anymore. I do know the only ones who can do it are the women. The mothers and grandmothers who are done with the violence, with having to be afraid for their babies every single day, who sing louder and rock them all the harder, read them stories and check the woods for suspicious characters, bake pies, who tell silly jokes to make their babies laugh, all the while afraid that one day, someone will decide their child is one of the ones that deserves to be hated, beaten, killed. These babies that we love with every cell of our being. Now when we hold them, we live in that moment, savoring every moment, because we are unsure of the future, unsure of their future, because of the hatred that we didn't start. It happened before, famously in Germany, and it's happening again. I am never going to run for political office. I am not cut out for it. Not a hero. I'm just a Yankee Farm Wife, a woman on a farm, rescuing animals, trying to do my best. Like any Yankee Farm Wife, I am practical. I have more common sense than most. I can solve just about any problem on this farm. I can remodel an old farmhouse with my own two hands. I can save the lives of animals with my black box of meds and the knowledge I have gained over the years. I can pull stories of dragons and phoenixes and annoying monkeys out of my brain the second my grandchildren ask for one. And I can see how this country got here and how we can find our way out. But we have to let go of this irrational hatred that's been forced down our throats. As an aside, these hate mongers who get paid to turn us against each other and the sponsors who pay them to do so, if I believed in hell, I'd wish it for all of you. But I believe in karma, and will have to trust you will learn your lessons in an even more horrific and impactful way. Meanwhile, the only way we can break this cycle is by loving our babies, our families, our friends, strangers we meet on the street, loving them all so much that we drown out this manufactured hatred and put those who peddle it out of business. Christ never intended to start a religion. I am sure he is baffled that it all turned out so badly with the religious wars, the Inquisitions, and Protestants and Catholics and fundamentalists and everyone else so sure that they are the only ones who know their ass from their elbows as to what Jesus wanted. He was pretty clear. He didn't want to be worshipped or idolized, and he certainly didn't want anyone dying for a cause he didn't have anything to do with. His message was about a movement of acceptance and love and kindness for all, even sinners, like all of us. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. After that, it all became about men trying to control populations. Read Project 2025. It still is about that. We are a big pile of sinners, nothing to be done about it. I've screwed up, you've screwed up, but if we put kindness above all else, if we treat each other the way we want to be treated, well then Jesus Christ's job here is finally done and he can rest in peace. We don't have to be Mother Teresa's, but women, we do have to love like the mothers that we are, and not just our own children, but all of our children. And men, you have to love like the fathers that you are, all children, and we somehow have to join together and pull ourselves out of this mess for the sake of these children. We didn't start this, but we can end this. Skip paying for the next person's coffee. It's superficial. It doesn't change anything. Find ways to work for peace and find a way to let go of this hatred to work from a place of love. So much hard work ahead. But our babies' lives are worth it. Maybe 15 or 25,000 people will hear this. That's it. And most of you are already on the same team. But thanks for listening. I have my grandkids today. It's Sunday. I'm going to go play with them. I hope you can do the same. With much love from Meemaw, aka the Yankee Farm Wife.